And I'm recording.
And I got a good view of my thing in case something goes wrong. I'm watching.
Have you got what's your level look like?
My level looks great. Yeah.
So let's just.
I'm coming in at about, I want to say about negative 6 dB or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Industry standard. Should I be a little hotter? Or?
No, I'm just going to check my level. I'm actually coming in about minus 12. I could turn up if you want.
Yeah, I'm going to turn up a little here.
No, I like where you are.
Okay.
In my ears. Does this affect my level? Hang on. Check it out. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just burped. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Doesn't affect it at all.
You can hear me?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay,
You're
interesting.
quite loud.
Very interesting. I'm loud?
Yeah, but compared to
do you want me to turn down?
Well, I would rather
I'm thinking for flow, you know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, well, turn down, I mean, maybe a little
I'm
bit.
going to turn down. I'm hovering around minus 20, 18 dB FS, which is what I consider industry standard for converting digital into analog. So
now, tell me this. Okay. Listen to me now. How do I sound right now?
Well, I can tell you're using new pre's.
And how about right now? Did that go up a bit?
It went up a bit, yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, this is where I was before. This is good.
I'm kind of like with music, like recording vocals. I'm kind of like a one ear off guy. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, once we start doing harmonies, I mean, I have to do it that way.
Too much perspective.
Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with actual singing. It's just all about the look when you do that.
Yeah, none more. So so now I'll check the level of the audio. How's this audio level for like if I was to play a song, for example?
Okay. Whoa. That's hot.
How's that? How's that feel? Is that loud?
It's really loud. I can't even hear you talking at all.
Whoa,
so
really?
I'd make it like half that volume.
I don't know how to do that.
Maybe I could turn you down or something here. No, I don't think so. On Zoom, I mean.
That's incredible that was so loud.
Blasting.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Daddy's Car?
Like blasting Daddy's Car, dude.
Like Daddy's Car, a song.
Daddy's Car.
A song composed by artificial intelligence to be the Beatles.
Yeah.
Interesting that it was blasting because I could barely hear it over here.
Well, what can I tell you, buddy? It's a Polynesian nightmare.
It is.
Hey, should we do the thing? Hey, how you doing?
Oh yeah, we do that too. Fuck. Okay, yeah, let's try that thing out. Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks, James.
We've done like 3 or 4 minutes already here, so these people are going to have to...
lines up.
We're back on Zoom. Welcome to An Impossible Way of Life, the show that tells you nothing you don't already know about music. And we're just going to kind of like... Johnny's back on Vancouver Island, so we're going to kind of like be doing it Zoom style for a while, which we got pretty good at.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty excited to do it. But at the same time... there's some technical, things that we need to kind of work through. And we thought, well, we're not going to spend more than the exact 1 hour we need to do the podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll probably just figure them out as we go.
Well, actually, I would have liked to have a little more time today, but you know what I was doing is something you would really enjoy. I was repairing a cricket pitch at a high school in Victoria. Like a cricket training...
No, I know what it is. Oh, you mean a net?
The nets. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you weren't working like with a wicket. You weren't like groundsmaning.
No, I was just like repairing. Needed new boards around, like so the ball doesn't get out. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, I know.
That kind of stuff.
I've been known to, play a cover drive.
Are you a good batsman?
I used to play cricket growing up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say I was very good at it. I liked playing it. I think I was a bit too. I was a bit too nervous as a child to be good at it because it takes a lot of concentration and focus because it's quite a difficult game. As a batsman, it's a very difficult game. It's a lot of it is to do with your ability to I don't know, kind of handle pressure
Yeah.
because you're out there alone. The loneliness of a long-distance runner, sort of those Michael Atherton innings of the 90s where he would just stay at the crease all day, you know. It's a 5-day game, you know.
Crazy.
So, and
I know.
you get harangued by the wicketkeeper in the slips and silly mid-on or off, and, you know, you're getting bullied out there. So I found it, personally, I didn't have the nerves to be good at batting. I enjoyed bowling. I enjoyed fielding. I was pretty good, leg spinner because I'm left-handed, so... You know, I played. I'd love to get in a net. I tell you that. Honestly, I would fucking love right
I
now.
can arrange that probably.
Yeah, I could come out there. It's kind of a bit like mini England, isn't it? Well, bigger than England.
Well, it's actually a friend of my dad's sort of crusade to save cricket at this
friend of the pod.
at this school. Well,
nice.
I'm not sure if he's heard the pod. I'm sure.
Probably hasn't.
Well, yeah, you know.
My dad asked me about the podcast once. I was like, nah,
Yeah.
probably don't want to listen to that.
Yeah.
And he just texted me back, I'm listening to the Tonight's the Night one. And I was like, all right, sure. I have no idea what's going on that. I don't even know.
Remind me.
Yeah, your pre's do sound a lot better, though, than prior. I guess it's your new Apogee software.
Yeah, Quartet. Shipped to me personally, actually, from Long McQuaid, Ontario. Bloor Street store.
Yeah.
Guy named Derek helped me out.
Tell me about it.
Called him up. Yeah, he just told me that it was actually pre-owned by... Because, you know, I called him up. You know all about this, James. I wanted to hear the history of this piece of equipment.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I say? Every piece of equipment has a story. You know?
Certainly does.
And I want to know all about it. So I called him and he told me, Johnny...
I feed off that, actually.
Oh, me too. He told me, Johnny, you have nothing... I asked for the manager, you know.
Well, of course.
Because obviously the guy...
Who else do you even speak to when you're, a professional podcaster?
Yeah, I was like, do you know who this is, kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah.
And I said, I'm phoning from the West Coast here, and so...
Yeah.
I know you're about to close, but I need to talk to the manager about a piece of equipment. And they said, oh, you must have been the one who just ordered the Quartet. The guy knew. He said, but you're going to want to talk to Derek, our manager, because he's the one who took it in.
Regional manager, or are we talking store? I mean, it's a flagship store.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I actually believe it isn't Bloor Street, the one you got it from. I think you got it from the special one.
Yeah.
The kind of high-end audio one that's in kind of east, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure where, but it's sort of like it's called, it's got a special name.
Yes,
it's for
military kind of
industry.
Insiders.
Yeah. Industry night kind of feel.
No, it's for industry insiders.
Yeah,
those
but I mean,
in the know, they know.
You might run into some of them at like an industry night at like a local restaurant or something.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like a local Earl's, it's like music industry night. Some of the people who work there might be there with like the likes of you and me.
And Daniel Lanoir.
Sure, yeah. Ron Sexsmith.
He's definitely there. Massive head in real life.
Never met him.
Yeah, he has an interesting Twitter too. He only does puns.
My mom's a fan of his Twitter.
I'm
weirdly,
a big fan
never heard
of
his
him.
music.
No,
she hasn't. She likes. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he just makes puns like constantly.
Maybe. Yeah. It's kind of an old school humor.
Imaginary friend, you don't exist. I quite like him actually.
I think he's good. Probably partial lineage to guys like me in some way, musically.
He's a nearly man in the sense that he's kind of...
There you go.
Costello. People from the likes of Costello, Chris Martin.
Yeah.
They love him. He's kind of like... Everyone loves him, but it's like... He's pissed about his career. Because he's not as famous as like Sting.
Chris Martin, yeah.
No, Chris Martin's not pissed about nothing.
No. Ron Sexsmith isn't as famous as Chris Martin, so he's pissed off.
Chris Martin, when I've heard stories that on tour, when I had some friends who went on tour with them.
Yeah.
They opened like first of 3 on a stadium rock tour with Coldplay. And that Chris Martin would like get a private jet after every show back to New York to Gwyneth.
Wow.
Where whatever the show was, that he'd just, as soon as the show finished, flown back to New York. And the band were on tour for a full month, never were allowed to even meet Coldplay.
Unbelievable.
And on the last day, Coldplay came in to hang with them. in the backstage, and gave him some signed drumsticks, things like that.
Oh, that's kind.
Yeah. Salt of the earth, right?
Do you know that Led Zeppelin and like bands like that used to do that, hey? That they would like post up at one hotel in New York and then do the whole tour and fly back at night and sleep at their hotel room.
Fly by night.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't actually know that, but I
like
love that.
Most of like post 1970s Zeppelin tours, they just like be at the Hyatt House in LA or something, and then they like play Kentucky and take the actually later than that, I guess. When they had the plane.
They had their own. They were the first band to have a plane.
Yeah,
I think.
and then they just go back to New York after the show and sleep. They just stay in the same hotel for a month or whatever.
Yeah.
That's badass.
That's badass.
Not really an impossible way of life. That quite convenient, really.
It's not an impossible way of life style of anything.
No,
really.
we're more into the
I
Dave
had
Grohl. They take out a van life.
I had an impossible way of life moment today when Sophie got paid from her work.
Okay.
As a writer.
Oh yeah.
And I at the same time I got a fine from the government just for existing.
For being a musician?
Just for being a musician. It was
disturbing the peace.
Yeah, it was just you should be paying us more. And then I had to call up to try and get some free money off the government. I had to beg them for money, and the woman was so angry talking to me. She was like, "What do you do?" I'm a musician, and she was like, "And how's that affected your, earnings?" And I was like, yeah, I suppose it hasn't really.
Oh my God.
Honest, I suppose I was always fucked prior to COVID too, so I don't really know what I'm trying to do here.
Hard to know how one's affected. Yeah.
I want to just try another thing out here and see what see if it's. I just got to figure out, and I'll even cut this. I really will if I want to figure out why it's so loud for you.
Go ahead.
If I play some stuff, because I got a lot lined up here.
I think our listeners will appreciate this type of technical jibber jabber.
Is if I turn this really low down, is this really loud?
I mean, that's a good volume now. It's medium.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, I think I can. Okay.
Yeah,
I think
I'm getting that. This is if I was listening to it, it'd be this volume.
Let's listen then.
Wow. Wow.
This is John Anderson from Yes.
Whoa.
Kind of a Graham Nash vibe.
I thought it was Graham Nash.
It sounds like him. No, that's John Anderson from Yes. I found this website because we were going to talk about lockdown rock veteran releases.
Lock Rock, yeah.
Lock Rock, nice. That's good. And it said that, and I was just kind of scrolling through some of this stuff, and it was letting us know, what these guys, letting us know what our idols and heroes were doing about it.
Yeah.
About kind of the lockdown.
Well, yeah,
and
they're getting involved.
Well, they're getting involved in a big way. So it just mentioned that, it just said that he'd released, the singer from Yes had released an album called Go Screw Yourself. And that was the lead track of it. And, I got to say, you heard it.
I did.
Very interesting reading some of the comments on this one. People saying, John Anderson, the voice, the master is back. This guy, Mirror Time, says, love this. I've been a Yes fan for 50 years. Right on, John. Brilliant singer, now putting out something that's relevant and important to our times. Finally. Yeah. And then this guy says, Grimble says, when I watched this video 2 days ago, it had much more views. Now my original comment is gone. Has it been a victim of censorship? So Grimble's worried that
Help me, John. Write another song.
Yeah. So he's a bit worried that it's he's a bit worried, Grimble, that he's not being listened to, I guess.
He's grimbling about it a bit.
He's grumbling a bit. He's a bit of Grimbler, yeah.
So John Anderson, so what is that one about? Don't go screw yourself. Is it a Trump thing?
I think it's kind of like, I think actually he might be on the right side of history with that one, because I think he's actually just pissed at like just the sort of tactics of the Republican Party.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. I think most of these guys are trying to be on the right side of history, but they just use a lot of language that may not, kind of translate to that for the average listener.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like Grohl. So we were going to bring, and we've been asked by many people, many fans of the pod, to talk about Dave Grohl and Mick Jagger's. Dave Grohl responsible for turning a lot of people onto the Stones.
Yeah.
Presumably.
I mean, just onto music.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like he kind of, through his various documentaries, guest appearances, he's kind of really led the charge lately as far as like people in like, okay, not millennials, what do you call it? Like Gen Xers?
Yeah.
Kind of being into like classic rock.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's the spokesperson. This isn't the only thing he's done either during COVID, because he did a live lounge all-stars. Remember like the Imagine video with all the celebrities?
Oh, God. We've never talked about that's the worst. You know what my problem with that is? I have to tell you. Yeah. It's not that it's a bunch of celebrities feeling themselves and singing Imagine, and it's really, really corny.
Yeah.
It's that they didn't decide on a key. No. Like, how hard is it to just say, let's do it in C or whatever?
Because none of them are musicians, and none of them have ever played. Don't know what music is.
Yeah, but I feel like if you just gave everybody the key or something, like
no, the key, people like that.
Same key, I think.
Yeah. Same, certainly. It's too much perspective. People like that, like they're actors at that level that they have zero actual personalities or actual feelings at all about anything. All they're doing is purely like what they're told or what they think will benefit their career. Like they don't.
Yeah.
The fact that you could get that many people to do that and no one be like, I think this is kind of a bad idea. Like suggests that like none of them have any kind of conviction about anything. They're just kind of like you could have told them to do anything. Like, and
I think it was Gal Gadot's idea.
Yeah,
her
I don't really
brainchild.
Know who she is.
She's Wonder Woman.
It's still up on her Instagram. I know that.
On a kind of a weird sort of reverse flip of this whole Imagine for a cause thing.
Yeah.
I was just reminded of when 9/11 happened, they did like a big concert to raise money on TV, and everybody played, and Neil Young played Imagine on the piano, and it was absolutely beautiful.
As they're just
That's
like drone striking. Yeah, as they're kind of like just as they're launching the first kind of drones.
Yeah, exactly.
What I do? I mean, it's a long time before.
And Elton John did Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters.
Oh, this is just kind of
for New York.
Listen, a lot of people were in those towers. I would have gone into them if I was there.
Buscemi style.
Buscemi went. Yeah, he was in those flaming towers. Trump was there too, I guess. He said so. But he
had a helicopter on the roof. Got out just in time.
Die Hard style.
Yeah. So tell me about Easy Sleazy.
Well, I was just going to say that this isn't even the first work Dave Grohl's done to like pep up our spirits during COVID, because he did an acoustic version, like Imagine style mashup with like loads of celebrities of his own song Times Like These. So he already did this with like Chris Martin, Celeste.
Oh yeah, his song, I know that song. Yeah.
So like we're at home and it's just like, Zoom collaboration, acoustic version of Times Like These with the Live Lounge All-Stars, which will mean a lot more to the English listeners because Live Lounges pretty much systematically tried to undermine the concept of music for about like, I don't know, 10 years, it's just people doing acoustic covers of other people's songs. This is kind of like faux inspiration, like cheesy telethon energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Makes
and
sense.
It's kind of just like only artists who can do so many other things other than this. Like they could actually donate money.
Yeah.
You know? They could ask fans to donate money, but instead they're going to like play their own song with a bunch of celebrities.
I mean, I guess it started with Live Aid and here we are or something.
Yeah, but I guess like Easy Sleazy, Lemon Pea Squeezy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want me to play a little bit
Did
of it?
George Harrison start all of that kind of thing with the concert for Bangladesh? Of where it's just like, even though they obviously mean well, that it's just kind of like, we're just going to get on stage and play our songs and save the world.
That's true, actually. I never really thought of it like that. Maybe.
It's the first ever benefit concert.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember when, like, in the 90s, like, Tibet was really big? Like, that was a really big one. Here we go. Psychotic.
Doesn't sound Stonesy at all. It's a Foo Fighters song.
Who do you think's on production? Grohl?
I think so. Kind of a Street Fighting Man vibe to that verse.
Yeah, there is a Street Man. Yeah, there is, for sure. But it is weird because a lot of these songs sound the same as well.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded a little bit like that John Anderson one. You got to sort of wonder, like, sort of it takes a village. I'm sort of thinking that maybe the producers of these, like, artists were doing a lot more than we realized. Like, mixed decisions lyrically. Even, maybe, like, he just never wrote anything.
Well,
'Cause it doesn't
may I enlighten you? Because I was reading earlier a Rolling Stone interview with Mick Jagger from yesterday.
Certainly, please
from
do,
just
yeah.
a couple days ago, actually, on the song.
Well, thank God.
He needed to kind of, explain himself. So he says,
Yeah.
Mick Jagger was sitting at home last month monitoring the coronavirus pandemic when he was struck with an idea for a new song. He was ruminating over the past year on both a personal, global, sexual, financial, and psychotic level. Noting that while the world remains gripped by the pandemic, a return to pre-pandemic life is inching forward. The result? Easy Sleazy. The result? Easy Sleazy. A one-off track with Dave Grohl that notes the tragedies, absurdities, sexualities,
Psychotically.
its conspiracy theories, and hopefulness Jagger's observed over the past year.
Interesting.
Shooting the vaccine, Bill Gates in my bloodstream, it's mind control, Jagger sings on the track in a verse he calls a piss take on conspiracy theories.
Wow.
The earth is flat and cold. It's never warming up. The Arctic's turned to slush. The second coming's late. There's aliens in the deep state.
Nice.
Anyway, this is the best
I like
part,
it.
though.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of him being a Dracula, just
Well,
waiting.
no, explain that, actually.
Okay.
I would like you to explain that theory, because you had a bit of a theory on, like, his relationship with Dave Grohl. And, I mean, I think for the fans of the pod and friends of the pod, you need to explain the Dracula theory.
Like many theories we talk about, it's actually Luke's theory. I can't take
It's also 100% true.
yeah, that there's the theory that there are certain rock stars known as Draculas that, it's sort of, they go beyond the vampire, the Hollywood vampire, London vampire, whatever, sort of role.
It's kind of post-vampire is
Yeah.
where you go. It's further.
And you have to be a mega
more
star.
black.
Yeah, you have to be a mega rock star. Like, you're not going to be a Dracula if you're like a, Steve Winwood or something. We're talking Jagger, Bowie, these types of guys, that they get to the point that even when they're 70, they're so keyed up on their own persona and fame that they figure the world still totally needs their take, and that they need the blood and bodies of young women to basically keep them alive or something.
Yeah, adrenochrome. They kind of get into that kind of adrenochrome kind of place that maybe like only is normally reserved for people like the royal family, Epstein,
Yeah.
And maybe Bill Gates, I guess, but I don't even think he gets to go there. Bezos might when he gets older, but yeah, it's kind of the fear and loathing.
Yeah.
Kind of like what drugs are left for us to do, harvesting young women.
Exactly.
Matrix style.
And also just basically like for some reason they feel like their worth is only valuable if they can still like pick up 20-year-old girls after the show or something like that.
Yeah.
Like there's some sort of an energy there that they once they can admit that that's a little young for them, then they'll just wither and die like a Dracula would.
Yes.
So that's where we're at. So this one quote from Mick I really found interesting when thinking about that. Elsewhere, though, the Rolling Stones frontman exudes optimism for another roaring 20s. And here's a quote from Mick. Everything's gonna get really freaky, Jagger says. It's gonna be a garden of earthly delights.
Oh, Dionysian.
Yes.
It's kind of okay, yeah. Okay,
so he's looking. He's just waiting in the wings,
I guess people talk about the Roaring 20s as if it's a thing that's happening again.
He's just hoping the 60s is coming back, and then
he's just looking for like a kind of Hieronymus Bosch kind of
that kind of thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, kind of
I love it's a
Hieronymus
wonderful
Bosch kind of
painting. Obviously,
I've seen it in real life. Actually, have you?
I haven't.
Sometimes I tell people this when I go to bars.
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to
meet people,
pick up 20-year-old girls. I guess.
Yeah, the Del Prado in Madrid. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, of course, no problem. Yeah, Bosch, of course.
Massive painting, isn't it?
No, it's actually not. It's a triptych. Yeah, sure, triptych, but it's not actually a big painting.
Oh, I thought it was.
No.
So anyway, I'm not going to go on this, but I just like this part too. He phoned up Dave, and Dave said, "Yeah, I'm super bored. I just put an album out, but I got nothing but time to work on this with you." Nice. But then Mick says, "I like this. It was all done quite quickly. Dave likes it because it rocks hard, and I like to rock hard too, so it feels good." That's where they met, kind of. They both like to rock.
Yeah, rockers for sure. But I was just taken aback by the production choices again, that he decided this late in his career to double track his voice for the first time.
Yes, I agree. I was surprised by that because to my knowledge, Mick Jagger has never double tracked his vocal before. I can't name a song.
Wrong, yeah, but I don't think he's ever done it. So
on a lead vocal, maybe on like a chorus part or like a bridge, but never on like the verse lead vocal that I know of.
Yeah, that makes sense. I read a thing actually. It just reminded me. I read a thing yesterday on Reddit on Let's Talk Music, which is the most pretentious like kind of subreddit there is, because I've tried to kind of like ask stupid questions on it, but you have to write like essays and then people respond, but it's never musicians. And this whole essay was on like what do you think about people who like don't use their real accent to sing? Like, they're kind of like,
right.
Kind of how I do English, I do American and you do English with your accent.
Sure.
Hello, I'm Johnny Payne. I'm rolling in the mire of... That was more like Ben Gibbard, actually. And I'm kind of like doing an American thing.
Yeah.
Through Elvis Costello.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll take this where you like. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I thought it was interesting because the person was like, this is like a 3,000-word essay being like, I get it, like, real voices, sometimes are secondary important, but maybe they're not. Blah, blah, blah. But weirdly, the person they give an example of as someone who was consistently sung in his real accent is Mick Jagger. And I'm like thinking he's the most...
No.
He's the guy who invented the American affectation.
The person who's saying in their most authentic accent is of the English guys is probably Ray Davies or something.
Maybe, but also all the modern day accent rock guys like, Alex Turner and Arctic Monkeys, or fucking Liam.
Yeah, or Liam. I mean? Yeah, it's true.
Liam.
Yeah,
I've just been walking around. I've just been walking around like it's been so sunny out.
Yeah,
it's been walking around like doing Liam Gallagher impression. That's all I've done. Like, honestly, just
I liked what he said about Greta Van Fleet being
liked it
really
too.
into climate change.
Yeah, I thought
cool.
it was good. Yeah, I think he's a good guy.
Do you think he was serious, or is that? It's hard to tell with him, isn't it?
He's good, isn't he? No, I think he's smarter than people realize. Honestly,
For sure.
I think he's the most quintessential frontman since Mick Jagger. Actually, I'd go as far as to say.
Really?
Who's
Wow.
better?
Wow.
Who's better?
Since Jagger?
Who's better?
Oof. Quintessential frontman.
rock and roll frontman.
Like, what do you mean by when you say since Jagger? Because he's still going.
Since
the
peak
60s?
Jagger. Peak Jagger, yeah.
Peak Jagger. Would you count like Brian Ferry?
I think he's better than Ferry.
Really?
Yeah, but it's your kind of 80s style Ferry lounge guy, isn't it?
I like that.
Lizard.
I
You
like
a
that.
lounge lizard. I think he's like the most rock and roll frontman. Like, he's like up there he's like there, like carrying the Iggy and Jagger torch. You know, what
You're
I mean,
actually
as a
putting him
frontman.
above Iggy. Oh no, maybe not.
No,
Because Stooges.
but
is,
he's
yeah,
he
yeah.
fucking Stooges, mate. Fucking all about it.
Yeah,
fucking-
interesting point. But I think
You
you're a
think
little
about it,
biased,
but
but
it's like-
I respect it. I respect.
No, I'm not biased. I mean, like, I just can't think of anyone who's better. Better.
What who were you talking about when?
I mean,
you,
I know it's not classic rock, but it's like I'll take him over Paul Rodgers any day. Technically, though, maybe I'd take Paul Rodgers.
Oh, technically, there'd be no question about
there's
that.
no question who you take.
You know what's so funny? We were talking earlier about Graham Nash. I got a text the other day from a friend. This is really weird. Said, "Hey Johnny, I'm listening to Songs for Beginners by Graham Nash.
Know it.
Never realized how much you sound like Graham Nash.
Yeah, you're
in
doing
your
a bit
music.
of
But I never knew that.
Well, you are doing a bit of a Graham Nash. You're Nashian for sure.
I never.
You're
no,
no,
that's
you're
the
from
first
the
I've
Nash
heard
school.
that. The first
Well,
I've
'cause-
heard that.
Come on, you're from the Al Stewart Nashian.
Al
Behar
Stewart,
school.
sure. Yeah. Oh, I guess I didn't know Nash was in that lineage.
Yeah,
really.
he's in that lineage. Of course.
Okay.
He is.
All right. Fair enough. Right on. I like that.
Talking like this with an extremely overpronounced English accent. That's what he does.
Hey, I just want to. I got a couple actually questions for you. I sort of things that you've talked to me about that I want to know about.
Certainly, please tell
If
me.
I could just kind of
please.
pose
I'd love
these to you.
Yeah, I'd love to talk
I know
about that.
recently it was the 50th anniversary of the Manassas album release.
I don't remember reading much about that.
No,
I just
no,
thought
but-
it really got me going.
No, but I don't expect you to know about it because
Was
you know,
it Down the Road or was
No,
it
it was the
double
the album.
yeah
by
Manassas.
50th
with Hillman?
with Hillman, Joe Layla
Yeah, playing percussion.
playing
Dream
percussion. Yeah, I mean Al Perkins,
Al
Gene Parsons.
Gene Parsons, Al Cooper,
Anyway, yeah, whatever, all those guys.
all that kind
But
of shit.
that reminded me of something you heard about Stephen Stills recently.
Yeah, Stephen Stills. David Crosby said Stephen Stills was autistic
Really?
on his Twitter. Yeah, he said 100%. He said someone said like to him on Twitter that he'd read. Well, he said every time I see Stephen Stills interviews, he's an asshole. And he always has been. And we've kind of talked about it. Like, he doesn't fuck either. Like, he's just kind of this weird guy
Yeah.
who's hanging around with everyone kind of in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And David says, he just said, he was like, I think I've always thought he was autistic.
Do you think
He's
he's
spectrum.
Yeah. He's
I think he might have just done too much coke, but like
he's paying him a bit of a compliment with that somehow too, though. That
beautiful
like,
mind, yeah, beautiful mind stuff.
like his music is beyond.
Well, no, it's kind of like how like people think autism works like this.
Exactly,
It's like
that's
you
what I
meet
mean,
someone who's
yeah.
autistic, and it's like, okay, what's their like superpower?
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
the
it's
he
like, can
but
you
Crosby
memorize,
thinks that
like,
way.
Yeah, phone numbers or something.
Yeah, so Crosby thinks that way.
yeah.
He's like the Rain Man of
He's a
like
savant.
folk rock.
He's the Rain Man of he's the savant of our community. It's actually interesting because someone asked David Crosby on his Twitter. This is a really interesting quote, also a question to pose. Neil is trying to save the world. Stephen, this is just a guy called Sal. Neil is trying to save the world. Stephen is trying to save himself. Graham is saving the world, and you're rating people's joints day after day on Twitter. Maybe you should reevaluate your purpose.
Wow.
And he responded, Stephen is already saved, and if N and Y are trying to save the world, I don't see it, and they don't show it.
Wow. And then he
Shots
promptly unfollowed that person.
I kind of like that guy, actually. I didn't realize how cutting it was. He's a Tesla guy, too. Big Tesla guy. Big Musk fan, Crosby.
That makes sense. He's probably, he's so bloated, his ego, that he thinks he's going to be first on the space boat to Mars.
Imagine being stuck on a Mars One with David Crosby.
And Elon Musk.
You'd have a lot of time. You might even write a song. It only takes about 50 years to get one done. But I was thinking about, like kind of this COVID stuff, and there's a few songs that you don't know about too. Like I found some. I guess Bon Jovi did one.
Oh no.
Called "Do What You Can." They're kind of taking more of like a working man's approach, to it. And it was kind of like, it was. I'll just play the first couple of.
Sounds
play
good.
The first bit. See if it's okay. I don't want it to be too loud in your ears, man. But
Oh, I love it. No, this is perfect volume.
I couldn't
now.
turn it down less.
Perfect.
If I tried.
The crisis in New York is reaching a critical mass.
The city is ordering
Total,
shelter
like, New York
in place.
energy, right?
Only essential workers are permitted to leave their homes.
Paramedics have been empowered to make life and death decisions.
New Yorkers have the reputation of being tough, of being resilient. New York will get through this. We will get through this.
Kind of got that kind of, garage band sound that they all seem to have. None of them
like a demo track.
Yeah, kind of like a demo track vibe. Yeah.
This is what you could do on GarageBand.
Shutting down the borders, and they boarded up the schools. Small towns all rolling up the sidewalks. One last paycheck coming through. I know you're feeling kind of nervous, but all a little bit confused. Nothing's the same, this ain't the game. We gotta make it through.
Got a bit of a Jersey Springsteen kind of vibe.
We wave outside the window. Older loved ones stay inside. Moms and babies blowing kisses. Maybe it's saving someone's life.
Brutal.
So it's brutal, but it's weird because they all sound kind of similar. They have like this that one has like a kind of sea shanty vibe. But
it does.
They all have that like Easy Sleazy's like that. Like it's the same backing track. It's like they all have the same backing track, and then they just do like rhyming couplet verses over it. Really bad. They wrote it in 3 seconds.
The production, like the fidelity, like sort of the sound of all the instruments sounds the same in all of them. I know what you mean. Like the way they record it, like there's no creativity as far as like how they're making anything sound. It's nothing signature happening, really.
I think it's because they're all in lockdown and they've never actually done anything without like a team of people in a studio. So they're just like, okay, like they pay some guy to make a thing and like quickly sing. Oh, I mean, they're just trying to make money, I guess. I suppose that's the kind of motivation. I mean,
it's ironic.
Yeah.
Because they're
just
trying
saying,
to
like,
make money.
yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, no, just like Bon Jovi are just like taking their like, that's their like classic stance, isn't it? Like is the kind of like, we're like following in like Springsteen's Jersey energy to like just be one of the people, like New York strong, and let's just like pitch in and we'll all get through this. But it's like but then they have to make a song about it and try and sell it to people.
Well, and you know what? You know what I did? Me, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I didn't need to make a song. You know what I did? I got together with one of the most prominent, significant figures from the last 20 years of our great country, Barack Obama, and we just had a conversation. That's all we did. I don't need music because this is beyond music. What's been happening, to me.
That's interesting you say that, and you're Bruce, because I heard a story about you recently, and it's kind of like
tell me about it.
Well, it brings kind of it goes full circle because, obviously the person who's been most busy during the lockdown making music, kind of going through, like, I suppose, like his renaissance or, like kind of his first, foray into making music has been Mike Love. And I heard an interview with John Stamos where he talks about playing on stage with you. I'm just going to play you a little clip of it. See how you feel about this. 'Cause I remember it well.
I
got some theories about Stamos. So here you go. He's actually right. Like we can go through it right here, but he's also on stage with Fogerty at this point. So let's listen.
American legend John Fogerty.
Yeah, let's listen. Here we go.
The audience, and there was it was like 75 people there at the most. He goes, Bruce. I'm like, no way. Springsteen gets up and just, we do 10 songs together. I just couldn't believe it.
10 Bruce Springsteen songs?
No, he wanted it. We tried to get him. I think John tried to get him to do it, but he idolized John. I don't know if he still does, I'm sure. And you could see when John was singing and he was just staring at him. Well, I have a video of that too because it was one of those party videos, and that was a good one.
So that's John Stamos talking about being on stage with John Fogerty and Bruce Springsteen. And my theory is, and you can be Bruce or you can be Johnny Payne now, I don't care. My theory is that
I'm Johnny.
Okay. My theory is that maybe kind of in a Q way, like, like trying to get to like right to the bottom of this shit, that Stamos is the guy who's making all these tracks for people, first of all.
Oh, I love this theory.
That he is like the person who is like, he's kind of like connected to all of these people. He's also connected to everyone whose career had trouble. But I've pulled up a few other kind of examples of what I'm talking about. I just pull this up here. Stamos, he's talking here about he's just talking about like playing drums for the Beach Boys. He has a really interesting take.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
On how this started,
This Beach Boys thing, you treat it kind of casually, but how many guys who are known as actors go to a Beach Boys concert and somehow become one of the Beach Boys? Being tapped to be the drummer. When did you get into drums? When did you start playing?
I played drums since I was a kid, and the Beach Boys were my idols. God, I just, growing up in Southern California, I had the 8-track of Endless Summer. And
it's kind of the
I just loved
origins of his relationship.
I knew the guitar player, and I went to a show, and he said, "Come back after the show and before the encore, and come back." And I went back. I was in like 81 or 82, and General Hospital was on, and all these girls and cheerleaders chased me into the dressing room, and Mike Love was like, "Who's that?" Jeff said, "It's my friend. He's on TV." He said, "Do girls follow him around like that all the time?" Jeff said, "Yeah." He goes, "Get him on stage."
How about that?
Wow, Dracula
energy. Yeah, exactly.
Energy. Wow.
So you got this kind of Dracula energy. He comes in like as the ringleader of this kind of COVID Dracula scene. Is what I'm calling it. But it's also interesting because there is this kind of like sleazy nature to him, but also delusional. I've got another quote here for you. You might kind of find interesting because obviously when he's talking about the Beach Boys, I'm always concerned that he doesn't know who Brian Wilson is. Or like they're kind of like
John Stamos.
Yeah, but I found. Listen to this.
It's really cool. He was.
But if Brian,
this is him talking about Brian Wilson.
Okay.
With Howard Stern, who apparently still has a really successful fucking. This is only last week that he did this. This is like the week that was. So it's him talking about Brian Wilson with Howard Stern.
Okay.
But if Brian Wilson thinks you're a good enough musician to perform with him and stuff, that means you're at a master level as a musician. I mean, it's a pretty amazing career, really, when you think about it.
I think I need to, and I'm doing this right now, like with this show. I was like, I just let it all sink in, because I always say, like, if I would write a book, and I don't think I ever will, it would be titled, like, if you would have told me when I was a kid, I'd be, talking to Howard Stern, or, I used to ride my bike past, because Mike Love's parents lived near us, and I would ride my bike to their house, and I would look in the window and see the gold records, and just, oh my God, that's so cool.
Doesn't mention he's never played with Brian Wilson.
Never.
Just completely. Yeah.
Also, Howard Stern didn't know that either.
No, doesn't know it. No
doesn't
idea.
care. But Stamos was like, I'm not going to correct that fact.
No, I'm just going to pretend.
I'm going to pretend like me and Brian,
But he's not the only person, actually.
Okay.
That, there's a lot.
Well done, buddy. Well done with this is wonderful. What else you got?
It's more Stamos. I think.
Give me more.
I think this is it. Let me just see.
He's kind of the no more lockdown king. Yeah.
Let's just listen to this. Hang on. I think this is it. 1 second.
He says, "You guys want some Jack Daniels?"
Okay, this is him talking about Jimmy Page.
Okay,
Jimmy Page. This is him talking about how Jimmy Page asked him a musical question.
Okay.
So here we go quickly.
You guys want some Jack Daniels? And I'm like, do you have a light beer, Mr. Page? And my friend was talking to the roadie, and they were playing with one of his guitars, and they went in the other room. And then I'm sitting there with just me and Jimmy Page, and there were these anvil cases everywhere, which I thought were guitars, but they were like whips and devil shit. And he looked at me and said, "Okay, what key do we play Bob Moran? What key is that in?" I said, F sharp. I can't fucking solo an F sharp. So he's yelling at me about what keys the songs are in.
This guy.
What the fuck dude? That was really a lot to unpack there.
I think the Stamos is the kind of ringleader of this whole kind of movement.
Yes.
Of old rockers, because he knows them all, and he's just giving hints, kind of cue drop style hints. Like all these guitar cases were full of whips and chains.
What the fuck is going on? I mean, I've heard shit about Jimmy, but this is.
But he's also like, Jimmy needs to ask him what key songs are in, and interesting he can't jam in F sharp, solo in F sharp, because that's all the easy notes, I thought.
Also, Bob Moran, straight blues, basically.
Strict blues, yeah. Yeah. So this is him on Fogerty. Hang on.
But my friend Roger said, can you go say hi to Fogerty's daughter and give her some encouragement, because she's just gonna be. I said, sure, I'd love to meet Fogerty. Went over and said hi, and I said, we're having a Christmas party for Full House in a couple of weeks if you want to bring your daughter. Okay. And I always had a band playing, and then
responsible
comes
for
Fogerty
playing music.
And I walked over. I said, I don't want you to feel like I invited you just to play, but I don't want to be rude and not ask you to play. And he hadn't done. That was a time too when he hadn't done any Creedence songs for a long time. He was pissed off at everybody, and he said, "Could I?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can." He comes up and he gets, and there's like a dumb cast party. There's like 20 people, 100 people there at a Mexican restaurant. And he looks at the band and says, "Do you guys know Proud Mary?" Yeah, we know him. And then he came back for another party, and then it was his birthday, and he said, "Do you want to come?" Okay, great. And then he had a little band set up. And
so, he's basically, you're here to hear first, John Stamos is responsible for Fogerty playing music.
Wow.
Again.
Well, burying the hatchet. Yeah. He felt that he
sounds like a Creedence song. Burying the hatchet.
That was the most comfortable place for him to finally kind of reconnect with his music.
Just asking the band whether they'll just play Proud. Did I know Proud Mary?
This is a safe place for me. Thank you, John Stamos.
So it's interesting. I kind of wonder, whether he's kind of the ringleader in this whole. I mean, I'm only just working this out because I only worked this out for about. I spent about 15 minutes. When you said you wanted to kind of cover some of this lockdown music stuff, I spent about 15 minutes before. Kind of when you were having technical difficulties, really.
Well, this is just absolutely amazing, because I think you're really onto something here with this, and we need to dig deeper. Yeah. And I'm going to look more into it next time. Tell me this: how does this relate to this new rock and roll fantasy camp project going on? And is John Stamos offering his services at all?
I'll have to pull it up here, but that really did make me chuckle actually when I saw it. The rock and roll. I got an Instagram targeted ad.
Yeah, I saw a thing about how Roger Daltrey was on there.
You can pay
helping
$20.
you write lyrics. Didn't know he wrote many lyrics.
It's actually www.rockcamp.com. I'm pulling it up.
Okay,
now.
You can. You all of you out there, you can.
We got Alice Cooper, Roger Daltrey, Hagar, Priest, Joe Perry, Gene Simmons. That's who we've got in the rock camp.
Cool.
Kind of a pirate, kind of a vampire's energy, actually. That
it's sort of a master class in just being a sleazeball. That's what they're offering.
Or being the guy in. Well, I guess Alice Cooper's there. He might teach you about golf.
Yeah. Or just how to be a vampire.
Looking back here, it looks like Joe Walsh is in it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Oh man, did you see that thing Luke sent us about Joe Walsh?
What
Joe
was
Walsh
it?
Talking about the best song he's ever written.
What was his opinion
It's
of
more
that?
stern, dude. Oh, you're going to love this shit, dude.
Let's
Listen
hear
to
it.
This is Joe Walsh talking about... This is what makes me wonder what these guys, like, were they ever capable of, like, what's happening? It's kind of like, this one's more Spinal Tap than you can even deal with, man. Hang on. It kind of makes me wonder, like, without the producers, without the studios, maybe they're all just going to, the whole thing was just a lockdown song.
Yeah.
You know, because listen to this kind of like, you know.
Do you still stop and listen to that on the radio? I mean, it's on the radio all the time on classic rock stations. If you hear it, will you stop and listen to it and go, man, that's a good fucking record?
One of the things that makes it magic is it's a bunch of guys playing in a room.
Right.
That groove you can't do with Pro Tools.
How about that? You can't.
Love that.
You can't do it. Maybe that's the key. Is like all these guys now, they're not in a room together.
100%.
So it's like they're on Pro Tools.
Yeah.
They're on the
GarageBand. Yeah. I mean, they're taking the GarageBand demo and you strip away.
Yeah.
And they're like, the drums sound good, so let's just build off that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Steve Miller was doing that in the 90s.
What I was going to say about John Stamos is that, yes, I think like what I'm gathering is that like personality-wise, he's kind of the guy, he's getting everybody together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think he's probably reaching out to Grohl for just like production stuff on these new records.
It's possible that Grohl, that makes more sense actually. Yeah, the Grohl, I mean, we've not even covered the Clapton, Van Morrison stuff, but I mean...
Well, we've talked about it before. We know that's the OG No More Lockdown.
I think that Stamos is kind of like the Tom Cruise kind of personality guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Dave Grohl is like the Jeff Lynne producer of all these guys.
Yeah, it's kind of like John Stamos is sort of the Steve Jobs of the whole thing. You know what I mean? And then Dave Grohl's like the Steve Wozniacki. Yeah, whatever.
Well, he would be. It's more like a Paul Allen, Bill Gates kind of scenario,
or Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates.
Ballmer's the hype man. Who's the hype man?
That's John Stamos.
Oh,
he's the Ballmer. He's the hype man. He's Ballmer, and then and Dave Grohl's actually the one building the software, creating the sound.
No, I think Dave Grohl is the musician Paul Allen, the blues musician and Windows like creator Paul Allen.
Right.
Ballmer is Stamos, and we just haven't figured out yet
who Bill Gates
is in the kind of like aging, decrepit, unfatigable, like boomer, like energy. Like we haven't figured out who it is. Listen to Joe Walsh
interestingly,
talking.
James, a lot of these songs are about Bill Gates, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just Bill Gates.
Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah.
Maybe Bill Gates is just Bill Gates. You know what though? Like, these I don't want to kind of cast shade or aspersions as to like what these guys who changed like rock and roll forever were doing in the 60s and 70s and how serious and earnest their desires were, and also like how much they were thinking about how hard it is to write songs and stuff. I don't want anyone to think that this wasn't something that was God's work, the Lord's work, because this is a classic rock podcast after all. So I'll just let Joe explain how he managed to write Rocky Mountain High. Here's a quick interview with him talking about how he got the lyrics together.
Wonderful.
What is it about?
You mean you just hear music? There's no vocal. There's no tune, really, except that.
If there were words, I hear where they go.
But you don't have the actual words.
I don't know what they are.
So how do they come to you?
Well, I'm on the lawn. I look up, and there's the front range of the Rocky Mountains with snow on them in the summer.
Right.
And it knocked me back because it was just beautiful. And I thought, well, I have committed. I'm in Colorado. It's too late to regret the James Gang. The Rocky Mountain way is better than the way I had because the music was...
I mean, there you go.
I love it.
I know. It's heartwarming, actually.
I agree, though. Life of Illusion, that's my jam.
Yeah, you're more of a Life of Illusion guy. I like a couple of James Gang tunes. I mean, he kind of says at the start of it, like, he also, like, recognizes he co-wrote Life in the Fast Lane.
He recognizes that.
Well, he says like that would be his top, but he only co-wrote it, and he doesn't want to
because
get into it with those guys.
Because Glenn Frey was in a car with a drug dealer and came up with the title.
Well, he doesn't want to get into it. McLean, if he says that he wrote that song, he's coming after him. You know what I mean? He knows better than to fuck with.
Oh, yeah.
Energy.
I mean, I have to say, honestly, if I had to pick, and I know I'm sort of into light, sort of soft rock music, kind of Disneyland style. But probably my favorite of all the No More Lockdown tracks was the Beach Boys one. People wearing masks and it's not even Halloween.
That's more your kind of social distance.
Yeah, shaking hands is a thing of the past to the social distance scene.
Well, digging the social distance scene. Well, I mean, you know that Stamos is going to keep the best songs for himself.
Well, of course. He pitched him, and okay, I just got it because we're nearing the end of our show, but I think we need to fast track, just not even listen, but talk about a few of the other key releases that happened in the past year. One of the ones being the Eagles' live album.
Okay.
That came out live at the Forum 2020,
nice.
Which, if you listen to, is clearly not at all live. And they use the exact same audience cheering sound after every...
Yeah, it's like the Logic stock cheering sound.
Yeah, exactly. And they have every member of the band do an intro. Maybe if you could pull... I don't know if you could pull it up if you have time here, but
listen,
I particularly enjoyed...
I can, 1 second.
Live at the Forum.
Sorry, this is just AI Beatles. Sorry, what do you want me to play?
I like the Joe Walsh intro.
Joe Walsh intro to Live at Forum?
Live at the Forum, the Eagles.
Oh, Joe Walsh is on Daryl Hall's Live at Daryl's House. I've never seen that.
I've seen that, dude. It's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and pull it up. Let's see.
Well,
from Is Everybody Okay? How you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Joe Walsh, how you doing?
How you doing? Yeah.
I'll try it out.
Check out the Logic.
Pressing the button.
Please give a warm welcome to Deacon Fry.
Nice.
Glenn Frey's son, yeah.
Who named after Steely Dan song, presumably, because everyone just loves Steely Dan. You know, they love him so much that Crosby all week was just on Twitter was talking about, because he always says they're his favorite band, right?
Yeah.
And he was just talking about how he worked with them loads. Just so much work with them. Jammed, wrote songs with them. Except I can't think of anything. So he's just lying about working with Steely Dan on his Twitter.
Apparently he did work with the Grateful Dead. He can't deny that.
He was friends with the Dead, but that's a different world.
Big Grateful Shred live stream tomorrow night.
Let's talk about it. On what day? Tuesday?
Tomorrow, 5:30. Just because
no one's going to hear this. It's going to be. This is.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about. We've seen it. How was it?
Oh, I mean, they were shredding 100% at Liberty. I saw Luke in the background there. Drinking a margarita. It was wonderful.
Yeah, he was there for sure. We can post about it tomorrow on the site. Because.
I'd like to just you and I. We will post about it for sure. But I heard today that speaking of lockdown rock, that Beck and Paul McCartney released a song together.
Jeff Beck or Beck?
Beck. Beck.
Is it part of Paul McCartney reclaiming the word imagine?
It might be, but
it's on his new album, Reimagined. I think it is.
Another misguided step.
Yeah.
I don't think Paul's allowed to use the word imagine. He's contractually blocked.
No, it's on the record. It's on the record. McCartney 3 Imagined, it's called.
Oh my God.
He's got a new record. It's covers.
Oh, it's covers.
Remixes. And do you want me to play the back one real quick? Just before
let me hear it. Let me hear a second of that.
Okay, here it is. Kind of a Band on the Run idea vibe.
Huh.
Kind of. Yeah, it's kind of got a back. Yeah, maybe like.
Doesn't sound too bad, actually.
Odelay energy. The early back, kind of funky back. Because he can switch it up.
But Beck singing? So it's just a cover.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just Beck doing it. Yeah.
Has anyone said anything yet?
Okay.
Yeah, just Beck
wait. Pause it.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. That's clearly Beck and McCartney singing in unison.
Yeah.
The exact same. And I think that's what's happening actually on that Jagger Grohl one.
Oh, you think it's
because I think Grohl's contractually, like, he has to be able to sing the lead vocal and play guitar, even though he's doing it with.
He doesn't
Mick
look
Jagger.
happy doing either of those things on the.
Yeah, well,
he looks pretty bummed on the video. Maybe he thinks he's too cool to be working with Jagger.
Just did that documentary about tour vans, So,
yeah.
Before we go,
love him. Yeah, people love him.
There's something I wanted to talk about just before we go that...
Good, because I want to make a gin and tonic. So.
Yeah, this is the end. Is that Kenny Loggins... There's a concert in the Redwoods.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. For all our yacht... Thank you for listening to all our Yacht Rock episodes. We had a great time. We'll probably talk a little more about it. But for those of you who haven't watched that majestic show, please watch it. And there's one part where he's doing What a Fool Believes with Michael McDonald. And there was just a comment here that I loved, and I didn't want to forget about it. It's Emil Rose says, "Wow, just wow. I had forgotten how much I loved Kenny Loggins' soulful voice.
Yeah.
Would have been interesting to hear him and Whitney and Aretha together. But I'll settle for the always great Michael McDonald." So kind of a shame that they didn't get to jam with him.
It is a shame that they didn't in their lifetimes get to jam. He could have taught them something.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, I enjoyed
listen,
that.
Johnny, I miss you. I'm glad you're safe. I'm going to go make a gin and tonic and take this lasagna out of the oven.
Thanks a mil, James.
Make
See you
a
next
Greek
time.
salad, and I'll speak to you really soon.
Okay, buddy.
Peace
out.